AITA for telling our friends the real reason we didn't save them seats at an event, even though it upset my husband? My husband and I attended a ticketed event that he had invited some of our friends to. We gave them the tickets. Our friends were running late, and I wanted to save them seats. There were plenty of available seats available, and many people were saving multiple spots, so it wasn't a situation where saving seats was against the rules or disruptive. My husband didn't want to save seats. He said it was rude to save that many, we had 6 friends coming, and told me not to micromanage an event he invited people to. I disagreed. I felt it was polite to save seats for people we invited, especially when it was clearly allowed and there were many available seats. But after he told me to sit down for a second time, I was like, fine, whatever, and I didn't save any seats. When our friends arrived, they were disappointed that they couldn't sit with us. At that point, there was still an option to move to another row, so we could all sit together. Our row had empty spots, but it was that awkward thing where people sat 2 and then 1 empty seat type deal. But the only row with 6 seats together were 2 rows back, and my husband preferred the seats we already had. So we didn't move. We found 2 middle seats in front of us and told them, why don't they sit there? But they said, no, it's okay. We'll sit here and save these for XX and YY. Our 2 other friends who were also late to the event. I went up to them when we had all sat, event hadn't started yet, to make small talk, and they asked why we didn't save them seats. I told them truthfully, I wanted to save you seats, but husband name said it would be rude to. My husband was upset with me and said I threw him under the bus. He said I should have lied and said we tried to save seats, but they got there too late. But that wouldn't have made sense since there were still many empty rows when they arrived, so we could have just moved and sat together. He feels I embarrassed him. From my perspective, I just didn't want to take responsibility for a decision I didn't agree with. And I low-key wanted him to understand that he was being unnecessarily petty for not saving seats. Anyways, he got very angry and said I threw him under the bus and that I should be a united front with him. I told him I can't be united and take the hit for something I disagreed with from the get-go. So, AITA? I know this isn't the question, but people keep saying I'm the asshole for trying to save 6 seats. And in normal scenarios, I'd agree, but there were more than enough seats. Even after the show started, there were enough seats. Guys, this was at a community center. It wasn't a fancy concert. It was a charity show at a community center. There were plenty of seats. The show started at 8:30. Doors open at 7:30. We told our friends to be there at 8. They arrived at 8:20, before the show started. The show ended up starting at 9 because of technical difficulties. We found a row that was like 5th row from the stage. Our friends arrived at 8:20, and even then, row 7 was completely clear, like no one was sitting in it. We could have all sat there, but my husband was like, I don't want to move because we already have our seats. Which is fair, row 5 is closer, and we had settled down by that point. But at 8 p.m. when we arrived, row 5 was fully empty, and we could have just put a jacket or my purse and saved them seats. If it started to get crowded, I would have said, hey guys, we tried to save you seats, but it got crowded, and they would have seen that. The reason they were hurt and asked why couldn't you save us some spots was because there were so many spots that were empty. Just not next to us. Next to us, there were staggered empty spots, like it would be a couple sitting together, empty seat, family sitting in 4 spots, and then empty seat. I was not going to ask people to get up and move just so we can sit. I think that's rude, but if we had saved the spots beforehand, I feel like it wouldn't have been a big deal. He just didn't want to. That's why I didn't want to take blame for it, because I disagreed with him early on. I said, I want to save seats. He said, no. I said, Simon, it's not a big deal. He said, no, please just sit and stop trying to micromanage this. I didn't want to cause a scene, so I sat, but I didn't agree with him, and he knew I didn't. I just want to know AITA, because to me, it's like you wanted to not save the seats, but you don't want to get heat for it. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to my channel. There are many great stories for you on my channel. Thank you for watching.